think we underappreciate like small beginnings, but pay attention instead in your small beginnings to the people around you, to like the circumstances that you're dealing with.
Or just kind of brush it off. But you got to remember, man, that could be, a little seed that you plant that's going to grow into a huge tree and give you that end result. That's great. Throw it down. Just, go ahead and do it. Give it your all. But if not, there's something that you have to recheck. There's something that you got to,
Hey, all. So we're recording a new podcast today. We're going to talk about values. We're going to talk about results, talk about the Olympics, and a little bit about greatness. So welcome back. This is Branco, and I'm Iz.
What up, man?
What up, dude?
What up, everybody?
Have y'all ever seen that crazy clip about Suni Lee where she just like does a huge flip, I think, and then poof, just hits her face? It was pretty bad.
The gymnast.
Yes, the gymnast.
U.S. gymnast.
U.S. gymnast. We were just talking about our favorite events. Broncos is swimming.
It's like, that's random.
Dude, it's like swimming's crazy, but
love it, man.
It's insane. And so, so Suni Lee, she's a gymnast, and she did like this crazy flip, boom, hits her head, and then gets up, like resets, and you can literally see her reset. And I've been kind of obsessed with like that moment, dude, where she resets. And there's also other videos of other athletes like Cristiano where he's like talking and he's just like, I will score the goal. I will. And it's super robotic, dude. But it's because he's just telling himself, right? And I imagine like Suni Lee's doing the same.
Zoned in,
bro.
Yeah.
And it's like about what you tell yourself. But anyway, that moment is not created there. And I think that that's where I got it wrong. Where I used to think like, okay, if I can zone in for that moment, then I'm good. And no, it doesn't start there, It starts, I think it starts years before.
In the gym,
right? And we're talking about small beginnings, but we're also talking about value. And I think that a lot of people, why value over results rather, instead of just value. And I think that a lot of people are like, well, I want to go be there in that stage, in that moment, right? Where I have the opportunity to zone back in. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like break it down for everybody for a little bit, because I'm kind of going all over the place.
No, man, you're nailing it. It's no, you're just putting your perspective into it. But I do agree with you. I think that all that comes from the hard work, dedication, blood, sweat, and tears that anybody, we're not just talking, I mean, we're giving an example about an athlete, but anybody puts in on a daily basis. And when those times or when those situations come up, you are able to just do something that you've already done before.
Yeah.
Right? Something that you're pretty familiar with. The feeling of failure, the feeling of pain, the feeling of frustration, and the moment that, hey, this is just me and I gotta get up and do it because I've done it times before. Obviously not at a world stage like that, but there'll come times where we'll all get to that point.
Yeah.
And but now, man, you're nailing it right on the head there. It's
and it's about appreciating the beginning, like wherever that is for us, right? Whether it be in business, whether it be in the gym. And I think that we like rush it. Like we want to be like, no, but I want to be here. And you start looking to people like that are there. And then that's where like a little bit of that jealousy comes in, which we've spoken about.
True. True. The FOMO part.
The FOMO, right. But instead it's like, what am I learning where I'm at? Because, and I hear this all the time where people are like, hey bro, like you can get to here and here and there. And like, this is the things you can have. And all you got to do is sign up. Like all you got to do is follow like the 3-4 week plan. And it's like, dude, you've missed it completely.
Oh, yes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
You just got me one, man, where on like this workout plan that I saw not too long ago, some pretty in shape guy, and his trainer was having people sign up for like a 6-week program. And my wife was like, hey, you should do it. He looks great and all this. And I'm like, well, what happens after the 6 weeks?
Oh, there you go. That's what we're talking about. Yes. Okay.
Like, yeah, I can go and sign up, but then what? Like, you just leave me out hanging dry or not not really focus on the hard work that comes in the beginning and establishing yourself, because that journey from that guy, I guarantee you it didn't take him 6 weeks. It took him
Yeah.
years. But
Yes.
people don't see that. Like you just said, you just want the end result,
Yeah.
or you're looking at that
And
image of that
that's where
guy.
it makes me upset, right? As far as like how when people go out and sell this way,
Uh-huh.
it's like in 6 weeks you can be this person. And you're exactly right, bro. Like it's like no. And so with students, right? I help students and like I'm building curriculum with for students. I don't want them to be one day an engineer. I don't want them to be one day a doctor. As crazy as that sounds, that's a result, right? But that's not a value of who you are.
Correct.
Like instead, I want people to be like, I am a good communicator. I am a good empathizer. I'm a good um I'm a good vessel,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just being like a good one day being a doctor. Well, are you a doctor that's not great at communicating? Because you're still a doctor, you still make that money, but nobody likes to really be in your office,
Right.
you know?
You just don't have that vibe. Are you empathetic?
Yes, yes. Are you a leader? Like
Right.
a leader, even a leader, man, like many people are given leadership positions and that
Mm-hmm.
means nothing,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about Jordan because Jordan's like, it maybe it's my fault,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that makes perfect sense now with what we're talking about. Like he says, maybe it's my fault that you guys think that I'm just the best.
Yeah.
I'm an
Yeah.
alien,
Yeah. That's and that's why I wanted to show. I showed is that commercial that came out a long time ago. It's a Jordan commercial, but the whole point of it is him telling you that he feels like maybe it's his fault that he led you to believe that he was just born great. He could just jump high. He can perform. He can hit clutch shots. Do all of this on demand. When in reality, you know, he put in the work when cameras weren't rolling.
And it goes back to like that Suni Lee moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boom, hits her face like on the mat, dude. And it's like we think that okay, if I can just learn to reset the moment, I'll be good.
Yeah.
But no, it was like all those like sets, probably where she fell 100 times in the
Oh
gym.
yeah. Can you
You
imagine how
know,
many times that happens to them? I mean, that sport itself is super demanding on your
bro,
body. That's the
crazy.
part. Those are the things that we don't see.
Yeah. And what does that have to do with value? It's like, it's not about becoming a gymnast. It's not about becoming a basketball player. Those are labels, those are results,
A
right?
doctor, an
A doctor, an
engineer,
engineer, those are results.
right?
But instead, the value is the hard work.
The hard work.
It's like the repetition, it's the patience, it's like the understanding that like this one tweak, being late to work, being excellent in your skills.
Yeah.
Bronco's like super neat. Like me and Roberto were just looking at his shoes and we're like, bro, are those new? And he's like, no, they're 3 years old. That kind of value really holds and carries over to other parts of your life. And I think that when Cristiano like says certain things as he's about to take a shot, that's like he learned what phrases work for him over a long period of
Oh
time,
yeah. Yeah.
you know?
You're just reminding yourself of those moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's great that you bring that up, because in a nutshell, it's about being grateful over small beginnings,
Yes.
being
Yes.
faithful over small beginnings,
Yeah.
because things come at you. And like I was telling Israel, I can think back at small beginnings in my life and see where I'm at today. But I feel like every year and almost maybe every quarter of the year, there's a small beginning presenting itself in our lives. And the purpose of that is not to throw it away, as easy it might be to ignore it or just kind of brush it off. But you got to remember, man, that could be, the little seed that you plant that's going to grow into a huge tree and give you that end result that
Yeah.
people just see on TV or on social media. That I want to get there, I want to get there, but there's steps along the way. There's that beginning moment that makes everything sweeter when you look back at it.
Like there's that one phrase that you're gonna learn in that beginning, like that's gonna just carry you through maybe for the
Oh, dude,
rest of
that's
your
so good.
life.
Yeah, that's so good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so that one phrase that Suni probably tells herself in her head, that Cristiano probably,
Mm-hmm.
that Jordan probably told himself, it came from the weeds, like from just being at ground zero,
Yeah, man.
you know?
In the trenches.
Like maybe, but you know what? Even if it came at level 3 or level 5,
Yeah.
he had to build from that level 1 to get to level 3 or level
Yeah.
5, right?
Yeah.
Hypothetically or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think we underappreciate like small beginnings, but pay attention instead
Yeah.
in your small beginnings to the people around you, to like the circumstances that you're dealing
Mm-hmm.
with. What makes you upset? Like what brings you joy? Instead of like being super swole, being super like fit,
Yeah.
that's not gonna bring you joy. It's like what were the workouts that like truly challenged you?
What was that moment like
Mhm.
when you thought about quitting? What
Yes,
was that
yeah.
moment like when you said, this is maybe just not for me,
Mm-hmm.
but you pushed through and you told yourself something like you just mentioned, right? What is the saying of your life in that moment
Yeah,
that when you get to that area, you'll talk to yourself again
yeah,
and get you back in the game. But, apart from that, it's finding the value in that. And you touched on it a little bit, right? But
yes,
the value of the small beginning, right? Because every small beginning has values. And if you don't really sit there and dissect the value of it or don't appreciate it, then it might just not be the beginning for you,
yeah,
because you have to surround yourself with those good values
yes,
that will then
yes.
propel that end result.
That's good, bro. And that brings us, so probably one of our last points for today is before you go on that journey, right? And before you start it, or if you're in the middle of it and you need to reset, define your values, like define them even if you feel like you don't fully like represent them. For example, for me, right, like I love to systemize, but it's funny enough because it's the thing I struggle with the most personally,
But you
you
love
know,
it.
but I love it. Yeah, I love to organize, I love to systemize, but it's the thing I struggle with the most. So what I say, I'm an organized person,
That's awesome.
you know, like I just constantly say it. Something that's been happening for me personally over the last 2 or 3 weeks is I've been having a rough go at it, bro. Business has been like it's been great, but it's also been tough.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that has not that's been nonstop and consistent, bro, is I've been able to provide opportunities for others. And dude, that is like it's crazy because if you go look at my notes, I have like my values listed,
Yeah,
and one of my values is provide opportunities for others.
there it is.
And it's because I say every day, provide opportunities for others.
Dude, that's awesome. Kudos to you, bro. That's awesome.
Dude, but it comes from what you're saying, right? It's like are my values even in line with what I'm fighting for right now?
Yeah, it's because that's to me the most important one,
Mm-hmm.
is if your values line up to whatever beginning you're dealing with, great.
Mm-hmm.
Throw it down. Just, go ahead and do it. Give it your all. But if not, there's something that you have to recheck. There's
Gotta
something
go.
that you gotta,
Yeah.
start over or think about again. But
Yeah.
so what advice would you give
um
for that?
I think that instead of there's this article that I've been following, and I'm gonna send it to you guys. It's um it's called the behavior gap, and this guy's all about behavior. He
Mm-hmm.
says that like if you don't have what you want, which is not the greatest way to look at it, but it's because more about your behaviors than rather anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's epic, bro, because it's taking full accountability
Right.
for yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, what he says that goals are guesses. And dude, that shattered my world, bro. I'm like, goals are guesses? Like what? And if you think about it, it's kind of true to an extent. It's like, well, I want this. And then we start like running towards it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like God like makes the way and the path so like different that when you really look back at it, it's like, did I really want that?
Wow.
Like, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
so when he says goals are guesses, it's a perspective, right?
Right.
It's not a rule, it's not a principle, it's a perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So goals sometimes are guesses. And so my advice is exactly your advice, bro, is like align up your values.
Mm-hmm.
So as you pick goals, first of all, hopefully and most definitely should be in line with your values. But then if the journey kind of like sways you, your values are the ones that are guiding you, not the goal.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because sometimes the goal has to change because you're like, wow, my values actually wanted me to do this.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
What would you give as advice, bro?
Mine's just, plain and simple, and I'm going to go back to being faithful over small beginnings, is really grab a hold of that beginning and cherish it and take care of it and
Nice.
mold it, because that's what's going to get you that end result that you can see that
Hmm.
looks attractive
Yeah.
on social or whatever, on your career path or whatever it is, but or on your healthy, your physical aspect. But be faithful about it. Start it, take care of it, cherish it, and you'll see results in no time.
And I think just to finish off, I think that our podcast is a great example of that. Like, our value is to bring value to others and to help others, like, just do everyday life in a way where it's fruitful and where it's meaningful.
Yeah.
And the way that we've gone about it, we're experimenting. We're seeing like what works for us, how can we jive better,
Mm-hmm.
but we've stayed true to our values, and we hope again that we've brought value to you guys. We'd love to hear back, see what you guys think about the topics, maybe some place for us to debate. But other than that, we'll see you all next time.
Enemy, my making it vibe that remedy. I'm more occasional, don't do it regularly. Backs under my eyes, weighing down heavily. Mama been worried, the devil allegedly deep in the plan. Subconsciously wanted it since I was 10. I thought I was sharp.